with a CTV News update. Tonight, I'm joined by my colleagues, Byron Scott, Katira Jones, and Keisha Butts. We're going to start with Byron, who has a Maryland COVID-19 update.
Well, Pat, here are the updated numbers. COVID-19 deaths in the U.S. have surpassed 50,000. And here's the breakdown locally. Maryland and Virginia are reporting fewer new cases. Still, the numbers remain high. And here are the numbers in Maryland: 16,616 confirmed cases with 723 deaths. Virginia, more than 11,000 cases, 153 deaths. And in D.C., more than 3,500 confirmed cases with 407 deaths. Now, this all comes as Governor Larry Hogan is set to announce his roadmap to recovery. And in order to get to this point, the governor has pointed out 4 areas where there needs to be significant progress. Number 1, expanding testing capacity. Number 2, increasing hospital surge capacity. Number 3, ramping up the supply of PPE. And number 4, building a strong contact tracing operation. Now, one of those we'll be watching very closely today will be State Senator Jim Rosapep. He's a member of the General Assembly's Virus Crisis Work Group. He says the governor's been doing a laser-focused, great job on this issue. He said he agrees that we need to ramp up testing, tracing, and targeted quarantining.
Thanks, Byron. Well, it's a challenging time for students and parents as they adjust to online classrooms. Katira Jones has more.
Thank you, Patty. You know, most parents are used to sending their children off to school before they head into the office, but the coronavirus, unfortunately, has changed a lot. It's changed everything, really. Now families are adjusting to working and learning all under the same roof.
Now that it's actually started, they come down at like 8:45. Class starts at 9.
Jandria Logan is a mom of 2 teenagers. But with school doors closed due to the spread of the coronavirus, her kitchen table looks a little different. Her sons Jaden and Darius Jr. are now distance learning right from home. But Jandria, an educator at Barack Obama Elementary School, isn't far away. In fact, she's at the table with them.
I add on to it by sitting there with them. So to lead by example, showing them that I'm doing my work and I'm getting mine done, so I trust you to get yours done.
The Logans, like many families across the country, are adjusting to their new reality of being home with their loved ones 24/7. But Dr. Kevin Roy, a professor at the University of Maryland School of Public Health, says parents need to enforce a healthy routine.
Try to keep meal times pretty consistent and bedtimes pretty consistent. I know that I see when I talk to parents right now, the kids are flipping the schedule, so they're going to bed later and later, and they're getting up later and later. And some of that's okay. I mean, but it can't, completely flip.
With everyone home, Dr. Roy also suggests getting your kids involved in preparing dinner and using meal times as a way to connect. This is something that Jandria is enjoying.
It's actually allowed us time to spend time together, having dinner together at the table, having conversations with the kids.
Dr. Roy wants to encourage parents to lean on their support system when times get tough.
Now, Dr. Roy also wants to inform parents that if you're feeling stressed, even feeling depressed or anything like that, you can call Maryland's help hotline and you can dial 211 for help. Back to you, Patty.
Well, Chris Haley, Alex Haley's nephew, is stepping into his uncle's footsteps by teaching people about their roots with his new documentary. Keisha Butts has more.
Thank you, Patty. Well, Chris Haley, he has a new film out. It's called Unmarked, and it showcases slaves' burial sites in Richmond, Virginia that have been neglected and efforts to preserve them. We spoke with Haley recently about his new film.
We hope is that it will encourage more people to just volunteer their time to try to help preserve a gravesite or to help to go to the cemetery and just to see what the condition of that cemetery is.
What is your new film about? Talk to me about it.
Well, it's unmarked, and it's really about the unmarked graves of free and enslaved African Americans. And primarily, I'd say it's within the 19th century or prior to when persons of color were unfairly treated. Marked is really an effect to try to commemorate, recognize, remember that this is an issue that is present in modern day America.
Is there a story that stood out to you when making this documentary?
Well, there's a story that stood out to me in general, just in my own family, because I don't know where Kunta Kinte is buried. I don't know. I believe that he's buried in Appomattox, not Appomattox, Virginia, but in Spotsylvania County, in an area which is an enslaved area.
Unmarked is now available on Real South and PBS. It will be making its Maryland Public Television debut on May 2nd.
So Keisha, I understand that Haley wants to extend the film to include stories here in Maryland.
That's right, Patty. He wants to include stories from Anne Arundel County and Jenkins Funeral Home in Prince George's County.
All right, thank you, Keisha. Well, balancing a checkbook and applying for a car loan are just two of the things Prince George's students will have to understand in order to pass a new high school graduation requirement. Student School Board member Joshua Omolola tells CTV why he sponsored the requirement.
Now more than ever, I realized that's something that I needed, that all of my peers will also need in the coming months, is financial literacy. The truth of the matter is that we're coming into a global recession with COVID-19 and everything that's happening. And if you don't know how to balance your checkbook, you're going to be sorry. So really making sure that we actually teach students how to balance their checkbook, how to invest in their community.
And that requirement goes into effect during the next academic school year.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this CTV Sports Report. The NFL draft is underway, and as expected, the Cincinnati Bengals drafted Heisman Trophy winner quarterback Joe Burrow out of the national champion LSU Tigers. Washington owned the second pick, and after fielding trade calls all afternoon, decided to keep it and take Prince George's native and DeMatha grad Chase Young out of Ohio State. The defensive end was a finalist for the Heisman Trophy and had 16.5 sacks and 7 forced fumbles during his junior season. For his career, 30.5 sacks and 9 forced fumbles.
And it was just a matter of doing our due diligence and going through the process, obviously. But, you know, when you kind of look at the draft order and you look at what Cincinnati needed, you know, you always kind of felt that, you know, Chase would be the guy. But, again, we had to go through the due diligence of it. You know, Kyle and his guys have been working through this for the last few years, obviously. And, you know, each year is a kind of its own little entity. So once we got started, we went through the process, and you know, it just really honestly was something that was just a formality, probably, you know, really going into it. There's an impact that getting to the quarterback has on the other rushers, the linebackers, and the secondary. And if we can create that type of immediate disruption, it's going to help, you know, the back seven. We drafted Chase because we believe he can impact our team. He's going to help us on the offensive side as well. If we can create the energy up front that we need and get the pressure on the quarterback, we can get the ball back to our offense and get it back to him quickly.
Now, Washington does not have a second-round pick. They traded it last year and will pick again in the third round, 66 overall. And that is your CTV Sports Report.
Thanks, Chris. And that is your CTV News Update. For Byron Scott, Katira Jones, and Keisha Butts, I'm Patricia Valone. Have a great night.
For the latest information on COVID-19 in Maryland, visit the State Health Department website. That's health.maryland.gov. Again, health.maryland.gov. Click the link to the COVID-19 information portal. There you'll find all the latest information about coronavirus. You'll find daily updates on cases and fatalities. Answers to questions about testing and the governor's stay-at-home order are available as well. For specific information about Prince George's, visit princegeorgescountymd.gov. That's princegeorgescountymd.gov. The site offers information about local services for residents and businesses. There's a link for COVID-19 relief donations. Also, food pantry locations are listed. And if you have any questions, call the county COVID-19 hotline at 301-883-6627. That's 301-883-6627.